For the founders in the space with style and grace, I'm Brittany Antoinette, host of the Not So CEO talk show and founder of The Idea Girl. From work and wellness to bootstrapping and burnout, we cover all bases on building a brand, whether you're a seasoned vet or you're just getting started. Through guest interviews, water cooler combos, and office hours, we're paving way for a new era of Not So CEOs. So grab your notepad and tune in for unfiltered banter on branding, business, and bullshit. Kemetria Lilly is a seasoned boutique industry veteran and educator whose extensive experience in the world of retail and small business development has positioned her as a leading authority for aspiring entrepreneurs. From dreams to reality, she launched Lilly's Closet in 2012, making her mark in the women's apparel industry by providing fashion-forward clothing without compromising quality, cost, and comfort. In just 5 years, she took her initial investment of $2,500 and grossed over $4 million in sales and has grown through social media with over 1.5 million followers on Instagram. Since then, she has successfully generated over $30 million in sales for her online and brick and mortar store, fast tracking Lily's Closet to become a multi-million dollar empire. With a track record that spans more than a decade, Lilly has not only successfully launched and managed her own boutique, but has also guided numerous business owners through the intricate process of establishing their brands from the ground up as well through her venture, Learn with Lilly. Her dynamic background encompasses a rich tapestry of skills, ranging from trend forecasting and inventory management to marketing strategies and customer service excellence. Her dedication to sharing knowledge shines through in her interactive teaching style, ensuring that all participants are engaged, inspired, and equipped to embark on their own path to boutique success. Hi, Lily. Thank you so much for being a guest today on the Not So CEO talk show. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Hello. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Girl, I always say this, like, thank you for saying yes. Like, what do you mean? I'm so happy. How are you? How's
I'm
your week been so
well.
far?
I'm well. It's been great. I'm in a sunny state and I'm just
Living,
working
having some fun
from,
in the sun.
yeah, and working from a different location.
Work and play, work and play. Did you get a chance to go to the beach?
Not yet, but I'm gonna go tomorrow.
Okay, I know that's right. So I like to start off every single episode with how did we meet or like how do we know each other? So I feel like
Mhm.
this one is probably going to be so emotional and so impactful. So I'm going to start off. Y'all, I've probably known Lily at this point for maybe the past maybe 7 years.
Mhm.
And we met essentially literally right around the time when I was at my last corporate job and I got fired. I got fired, and I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do? It's literally the day before Thanksgiving. And around that time, I just started the Idea Girl, and I was just doing really odd end jobs. Like I was doing newsletters randomly. And I get a DM from Lily, and she's like, hey, do you do these newsletters? And I'm just like, yeah. And she's like, oh, can we hop on a call? I think I want to. And I'm just like, what? Like, okay. So ended up getting on a call with Lily. She's telling me everything she wants to do. And it went from doing newsletters to creating social media graphics and what would be considered my first branding job. So I had been tasked with rebranding Lily's Closet and redoing the Shopify website. I'm not sure if you know this, Lily. I never designed a Shopify site before in my life. And this was my first
You were
time.
giving me a little pushback on the Shopify
I
website.
was okay, but we ended up making it work and it was such a cute site.
Yeah.
But Lily is literally the reason why I was pretty much able to go into the Idea Girl full time. And she was my first, like, I had other clients, but Lily was like my first client. Plus, she's also one of the very few clients I have that does not really give revisions. Like everything that's why you will always go down as one of my
Yeah.
favorite clients. Like, I'll be thinking so hard about something and be like, oh my God, I don't know about this. And she'd be like, yeah, I like this. And she'll literally just have like two changes. So shout
Mhm.
out to you for
Thank you.
literally hiring me when I didn't have a job. And
It's
since then
always so interesting.
we've worked on so many projects since then. So if you've ever like received a Lily's Closet like email or whatever, we've worked really hard to kind of
Box, a
we've
mailer,
we've done a lot.
a bag.
We've done so many different projects together. We've done so many different rebrands. Well, not really. We've did, I think, like three Lily's Closet rebrands. The last one wasn't really like a
Kind
huge
of like a little
rebrand.
facelift.
It was like, yeah, it was like a facelift. But since then, Lily's Closet has grown tremendously. And
Mhm.
people can tell Lily's Closet, like they can tell a Lily's Closet ad on the internet. So when we're talking fashion and content, Lily literally has that in a chokehold. I have yet to see any other brands. Well, I will say Marc Jacobs on social media on TikTok is hilarious.
Yeah, he got
I
all
will
the
say
popular
that.
people, and he's doing it.
He really is. Like he gets all like, the I've been a nasty girl, nasty. Like
Mhm.
he literally got them. And I'm just
Oh,
like,
I didn't see that one yet.
girl, their TikTok is hilarious. I'm just like, their TikTok is literally their entire TikTok, which I
Hmm.
find to be amazing. But since then, I have been able, I'm like, consider myself the kind of like the honorary Lily's Closet team member.
Hmm. You are. You are.
I'm
You've
like
been here
I'm like
through
the
many
honorary. I
changes.
come on when the big stuff, like when
Yeah.
big stuff happens, like I'm always back on board. But this conversation, I've been telling Lily I wanted her to be a guest on my talk show for like maybe the past 2 years. And every time I would come to Houston, it never happens because of me mainly. It never happened
And we're
because
always so busy working on whatever project we're
we're
doing.
always so we're busy doing two things. We're busy working and we're always busy eating. So
Hmm.
every time I go to Houston, I'ma eat. Every time I go to Houston, I'ma eat. But Lily, again, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to dive into these questions. But before we even get into anything too serious, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, share a little bit about your background, maybe like some childhood interests and how that even just kind of like sparked your affinity or your passion for fashion?
Yeah. So I mean, I've always kind of been into fashion. I'm gonna say not always, maybe since middle school, right? Since
Okay.
middle school, but my mom has always like dressed me down to the nines. I was in the Oshkosh Bigosh. I had my ruffled socks, I had the bag to match the outfit. So I've always kind of been into fashion, like to look really cute, well put together, like to express myself through what I'm wearing, how my hair is. And when I was in middle school, I kind of got into business. I started my first, well, back up. I started my first business when I was in the fourth grade.
Wait,
Okay.
what? I didn't even know this.
Let me tell you,
Or maybe I do know this and I just don't remember.
my mom used to, like, when I was in the fourth grade, I stayed at home during the summer and she would leave me and my sister at home. Well, I started having garage sales for kids. And I
What?
would sell my old toys. And my mom used to buy all these snacks in bulks from like Sam's or something. And I would sell the snacks. And so we were going through the snacks really fast, and she didn't really understand why. Well, I was opening the garage door and setting up shop while she was at work. So that was my first business in the fourth grade. But then when I got in like middle school, I started a candy selling business. And that kind of was like the foundation of me, like basically buying things and reselling it and making a profit from it and then repeating it and just being able to grow my, I guess, my wealth as at that age through
Wow.
that. So yeah.
So you've pretty much always been business minded since because
Yeah.
the fact that you were just like, yeah, I'm about to take these toys, I'm about to take these
I'm
snacks,
not
and I'm
playing
about
with
to make a profit. Not, I don't think I was thinking like that in the fourth grade.
me. Yeah.
Fourth grade, you're like, wait, 9 years old? That's
Very young.
That's insane, girl. So, what did you end up doing for college? Well,
I went
high school into
to business
college.
school. I went to business school. Yeah, I just knew that like I liked business. When I went to college, I didn't really know like what I was gonna do. I was like, oh, I'll probably just be a business manager at some company. So yeah, I went to school for business. There was no fashion schools here in Houston, so it was just like, okay, go to business school, like you'll get a job with a business degree.
So, you graduated college back in 2012. What challenges did you face when trying to find your purpose?
After I got out of college, I actually graduated December of 2011. So, no, was it? No, I'm sorry. I actually graduated in 2010.
Oh, wow, 2010.
10.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I graduated in 2010 and in December. So it's at the very end of the year. I ended up getting a job in 2011, but I was working alongside people that didn't even have a degree. Like the job that I had did not require me to have a degree. So it was really challenging to find a job or even know what I wanted to do. But I was like, I like fashion. And I used to watch people on YouTube. There was no Instagram back then. And I used to just be like, oh, I want to do this. Like, I want to make videos talking about clothes and telling people what to buy. And so I think I remember there were two opportunities working in fashion in Houston. I couldn't get those jobs. They wanted you to have a fashion degree. So one day I just said, you know what? I'm going to start my own fashion brand, right? And I started Lily's Closet selling handbags and jewelry because that was my thing. Like every payday, I would go to TJ Maxx and buy me a new bag. So I was like, I
Mm.
want to start selling bags and jewelry because I'm just so into that. That's like easy to sell. Like every woman loves jewelry and bags. And so I started that. I found out about Instagram because it was actually a challenge with one of my friends was like, oh, let's see who could get 1,000 followers first. And so I just kind of figured out how Instagram worked. I would post my products that I'm selling. And, from there, both my personal and my business brand grew just from constantly posting on social media and posting what I'm wearing and where I got it from.
So, when a position you wanted didn't go through, you decided to save your tip money as a
Mm,
bartender and invest in your dream. And
yes.
how did you stay motivated during this time? And what was the turning point for Lily's Closet?
It was hard. Okay. When I tell you that I did not know how the internet worked, I thought you create a website. And I thought the way that SEO and Google worked is if I'm selling a red bag and someone goes and search red handbag, my website is going to come up. Well, that didn't happen. I remember it being launch day, and I launched my website on January 2nd of 2012. And I had collaborated with this influencer on Tumblr. I don't know if y'all remember Tumblr.
Girl, of course, we remember Tumblr.
But I had collaborated with her to do like a giveaway. So I'm like, okay, like we gonna do this, put the website out, crickets, like zero orders. Okay. Now at this time, it was like I had an Instagram account, but I wasn't using it. So when I very first launched my website, I didn't have an Instagram account. Right. The challenge to start an Instagram account and get to 1,000 followers came in February. So when I first launched my business, the first 30 days, I only got two orders. One
Wow.
order was from the girl that I worked with at the bar, Rose. I will never forget her. And the other order came from this girl's blog. It was like an international order. Now that I was happy about, like, oh my God, somebody in another country want to order my stuff.
They know me.
So, so yeah, that was so discouraging because I had a lot of inventory, but I was hungry. And I was hungry and I wanted to figure it out. Like I wasn't just going to give up. And I see so many entrepreneurs that are like, I just launched and nobody's buying my stuff. And so I'm just going to stop posting and stop marketing it. But I figured out how Instagram worked, how to start building a email list. And from there, my business started to grow. Well, within 6 months, I was able to quit both of my jobs because I was working two jobs at the time. I was able to quit both of the jobs and just live off of Lily's Closet from then until now.
Wow. So inspiring. So inspiring. So by 2017, correct me if I'm wrong, Lily's Closet had grossed over $3 million in sales. So in between that time, so let's say like 2012, in between by 2017, you grossed over $3 million in sales. What do you attribute to the rapid growth and success of your business within that time frame?
I would say at that time, I think it was a little bit more over 3.5 million, but what I will say is being able to understand the type of content that my target audience gravitates towards.
Mm.
I think that that is so important. I feel like a lot of times as brands, sometimes we'll see other brands doing things that work really well for them, but we don't sometimes consider the fact that you may have two different target audiences. So creating the content that my target audience related to and that they were interested in really helped to one, bring more visibility to my brand, and two, help me to sell through the products that I had at a much quicker rate. So that way I can consistently reinvest my money.
So I've heard you speak about this before, and you always talk about like the importance of like representation of the fashion industry and not necessarily seeing people like you in the space that you are in now, back then. How has being a Black woman influenced your approach to building Lily's Closet and engaging with your audience?
Mm. I would say one thing that has been a part of my approach is the everyday girl, right? I feel like when I first started, I would go to websites that I would shop on. There were no Black models. If there were, it was like kind of like every once in a while. But I think that a lot of people like the Lily's Closet brand and they relate to it because there are, you know, we're not, we don't have models that don't have a body type that majority of women can't relate to, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of times they gravitate towards that. And some people may even say that the models that we have, like that's not a relatable body type, but you know, some brands they lean more into like the surgery bodies. And
Oh,
so
yes.
times a lot of times our customers are just like so appreciative of like you know that we don't use those type of models, right? Nothing is wrong with that, but I think that's what really make us stand out. And I would say being a Black woman in this space, it has actually kind of put a lot of pressure on me because I feel like I was kind of one of the first ones in the e-commerce space, and a lot of people look to me to see like what to do, how things should be done, how to grow this type of particular brand. So it's a lot of pressure being that person that people kind of look towards to see, okay, what is the Lily's Closet brand doing and how can I use that to incorporate into my brand?
It's almost as if like you set a standard because you've become inspirational and instead of just being aspirational, right? As to where it's like Beyonce is aspirational. We not even operating in the same
Right.
bracket versus someone like Rihanna is very inspirational because she's relatable and we've watched her build from the
Mhm.
ground up. Even when she was about to get dropped from her label, she literally came back, rebranded and is now who she is today. So I think people look to you specifically because you're so inspiring and you never gave up. You
Yeah.
kept going. So it's like, you know what? If Lily could do it, I can do it. But I can see how that puts pressure on you to exist in this space because you're technically a leader. I want to ask, what are some of the key challenges you faced in the early stages of business? And how did you overcome them to ensure the success of Lily's Closet?
Mm. I would say some of the key challenges that I faced is scaling the business, right? So I was able to grow an audience on multiple platforms from Facebook to Instagram, any platform that comes out, TikTok, like I'm able to grow an audience. So I have the eyes, I have the people. But one of the challenges is having the capital to really be able to scale and having the resources to be able to do that, whether it's resources of manufacturers and different factories or resources of just the money to invest in the business. So not having these resources, it really made me light a fire under me to work quicker, right?
Mm.
So I had to get my products online quicker. So I still do this to this day. Like as soon as I order something from my suppliers, I'm having these products, like a sample of it, overnighted to me so that I don't have to wait for the full shipment to come. So I have the sample overnight. I shoot it, I get it up on the website so that I can start selling it beforehand, because this way
Mm.
you're able to make your money at a much quicker rate so that you can reinvest it. And that has allowed me to be able to scale without having the resources that some of other brands may have in order to grow their business at a faster rate.
Wow. After you pretty much established Lily's Closet, you got into your groove, you got into a sense of consistency when it comes to content, production, putting styles out, selling. Learn what Lily was created to
Yeah.
help other women succeed in business without spending a lot on a fancy degree. What are
Mhm.
some practical, cost-effective ways entrepreneurs can educate themselves and gain the necessary skills to build a successful business?
Hmm.
Or maybe just talk about learn with Lily first. Like what kind of inspired you to do it?
Well, what inspired me to do Learn with Lily was, one, from the beginning, since I've came out and said that, oh, I own Lily's Closet, because I kept it under wraps for a while.
You did.
Yeah, I
Secretive
just kind of
Scorpio.
presented I presented myself as more like a brand ambassador for Lily's Closet. But I think since I came out and said it, like people would often ask me, how to build their brand, how to grow an e-commerce company, how to work in fashion, things like that. So I say, you know what, let me kind of just start teaching people like how to start their own fashion brand, where to get the products from and things like that. I would say one of the main things is that people should just, one, observe. Okay, that's something that you can do for free. When there was someone that I looked up to, right? When I tell you I watched everything they did, I watched every podcast, every interview, listened to every article. I followed them on social media. I signed up for their newsletter. I signed up for their text message list. I looked at their website every other day, because one of the best ways that you can learn from somebody is really observing what they do. And then if you have the opportunity to listen to them speak, whether it's through a podcast or even a written interview, you can see if what they're talking about aligns with what they're doing. And you can learn a lot from there. The other thing I would say is that I think that it's really important for people to learn from people that are doing what they want to do. We're in the space right now where everyone is selling a course. There's digital products all up and down the timeline. And sometimes it's just, a random Susan selling and telling you how to build an e-commerce brand that hasn't done it.
Oh,
So
girl.
I always look to people that have done it before. Like, for example, I found you on the Explore, like I literally found you on the Explorer page when it was
Oh,
the real
wow.
Instagram Explorer page.
The
And
real Instagram
I
Explorer page.
yeah, I just saw this graphic and it had motion in it, right? It was an email graphic that had
Yes.
motion in it that you had did for,
It was like Luxury Snob. I think it was Luxury
yes,
Snob.
yes,
Yes.
that you did for them. And I was like, things can move in emails. I need to get this girl to do my emails, right? I'm not just going to go to someone that I've only seen do logos and say, hey, can you design my emails if their whole page is only about logos? Or, hey, can you do my brand guideline? They've never done it before, you know?
Mhm.
So I think that's one of the main things is observing and then going to people that's done what you want to do, even if they're not currently doing it anymore, to get their advice and their knowledge.
Absolutely. And I can relate to that wholeheartedly because I think at this point, many people have figured out how profitable education is. Education is extremely profitable, but the issue is, and what's happening is that we have like multi-level marketing courses, the the master
Yeah,
resell
master
rights.
resale
Yeah,
rights.
and it puzzles me because it's like, okay, I can learn everything that you've done, but I've never implemented this myself. There's a lot of I feel like a lot of misguidance around that, and everyone is so busy and everybody's wanting to be an expert
Mhm.
and get expert money, but no one is okay with just being a beginner. And I think that's an issue. I think one of the most beautiful things about growth is that there's different phases, there's different seasons. There's the beginner season, there's the novice season, the intermediate season. Till this day, I don't know if I even consider myself an expert. I consider myself a senior as to where I've been doing this for about 7 years. But there's people that I look at above me, like a Chris Doe, for example. Now, to me, he's an expert because he's been doing this for 20 something years at this point. So I feel like we have to actually just have grace for where we currently are and just start working towards where we want to be. I think there is no such thing as education without application. Like, how are you going to learn
Right.
about something without actually doing it in real life? Like, you have to experiment, you have to practice. I think that's just my personal opinion because we're flooded with the courses and the digital ebooks, and it's a way to make money, honestly, and a lot of people get tricked and duped into that. So now, for aspiring entrepreneurs looking to create an e-commerce retail business, what are the
Mhm.
first steps they should take to turn their ideas into a reality and go from passion to profit?
Hmm. Okay, so funny you asked this because I'm actually working on something where I kind of lay this all out to where I think that one of the first things that people should do that kind of like take the stress out of creating a brand is create a mood board. Create
Hmm.
a mood board because it's like a it's like taking your vision out of your head and like putting it somewhere that you
Hmm.
can see visually, right?
Makes it
Uh,
real.
right, exactly. A mood board of exactly like what type of products you want to sell, how you want to do your photo shoots, what type of aesthetics you want your brand to have, who your customer is, what she looks like, what she does, where is she wearing these products, clothing to. And so that's one of the first things I suggest people to do. And it's really fun. So getting on Pinterest and finding that inspo is really fun. And that way you don't kind of deviate from what type of clothing you want to sell or what you want to do once you get in those spaces or at trade shows or whatever and you see all these products. Now you're like, give me this, give me that, and you're moving away from your vision. The next thing is that you really have to figure out who your target audience is. So knowing what you're selling and who you're selling it to is the most important things. And I think that's the part that many people skip. Your target audience cannot be all women, okay? Because all women are not going to like what you're selling. So once you figure out that part, certain things like oh, how to upload products on a website or how to build the website, one, you can get someone else to do it. Or, if the budget is a little bit lower, you can go like the template route. But I think those two things, knowing who you're selling to and what you're selling, are the two most important things that you have to figure out first.
That's actually, and you will always hear me know who you're selling to. Who is your target audience? Because again, if you have a brand and you say all women is my target audience, what if all women are actually not? Like,
Exactly.
when it comes to money and sales, not everybody is a girl's girl as we want to imagine it to be. So it's important to narrow down, and there's so much technology out there, AI even, to help you figure out exactly who your audience is, where they're located, what are their common buying habits and patterns, and just even I'm going to go into this in another episode. I'm going to do a deeper episode on how to discover your target audience. But essentially, is you want to think about who is likely to purchase what it is that I have to offer. If you're selling a bunch of club dresses, um,
Mhm.
and your target audience is 50-year-old women with
Right.
children at home. I mean, not saying that that can't be a niche, you have to market to them a specific way, but knowing your target audience helps you have an understanding as to who you're marketing to, how to speak to them. And it gives you an idea as to how to shape your visuals in your messaging. So I love that
Exactly.
you said that. Of course you would say that. So with Lily's Closet growing significantly through social media, because I'm not even sure where the count is at this point, because I remember we were just like, we got to get to 1 million. I literally remember this years ago. Um, what strategies do you find the most effective for building a strong online presence and engaging with your followers?
Hmm. And by the way, I was on a meeting this morning and Morgan just said we hit 1.5 today.
What? So now
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now we got to get to two.
Yeah, it's a slow build, but it's fun. I would say knowing what type of content they like, right? So what we kind of look at is we have three different main pieces of content that we create. And it doesn't work for everyone, but we have like our reels, we have our lifestyle images, and then we have like our product pictures that we post on our social media. So we at different times, different pieces of content is doing better than the other, but we always focus on kind of like making the content relatable. So, instead of just standing in a photo studio with a white wall and taking pictures in vacation wear, we are actually going to a set that has sand and that has sunlight coming in so that when we are creating the content, it actually looks like we're on the beach. So creating
Mm.
that content that's very relatable so that people can see themselves in what it is that you're selling. So if I'm selling this swimsuit cover up and then I put it in this set where it's like a beach setting, like you can see yourself in that more versus it just being on a plain white background. Which those pictures are still effective, but when I think what Lily's Closet is about, which is dressing women for their most memorable moments, I want to be in those settings. If I'm coming
Mm.
out with a brunch collection, I'm going to go and shoot my stuff at a cafe, at a restaurant. If I am doing something for New Year's Eve, I am going to shoot my content at a club, or we're going to have champagne. We're going to get into theme for the products that we're trying to sell. And that always helps the products have a better sell-through rate for me.
Starting with an initial investment of $2,500 and turning it into a multi-million dollar business is impressive.
Thank you.
Okay. What financial advice would you give to new entrepreneurs about managing and scaling their investments?
That is a great, great question. I think one of this is a struggle for most entrepreneurs, and it was a struggle for me because it's always easier. Well, I feel like it's always easier to manage a smaller amount of money, especially when you're the only one that's working for the company. But then once you start having staff and you have a building and you have all of this overhead, it becomes a little bit more challenging to manage. But one thing that I will say is that you always, always need to save. You always need to save. And use your profits wisely, because for me, I like to use my profits to invest in other areas of the business, right? So keeping your profits to the side, always taking at least 15% aside from the taxes. If at the end of the year you don't use all that money for the taxes, you can still take that money and it goes back into profit and you can reinvest it into your business. But don't always think that business is on a upward climb, right? You have to prepare for the rainy days, because people tend to think that you start a business, it's going well, and then you're just always going in an upwards motion. But business is more like this. You have peaks and valleys. So you have to be able to prepare for those valleys. And the other thing that I would say is keep your books clean, right? So when you keep your books clean, you're able to get working capital. You're able to get loans. You're able to go to the bank and ask for money because your books are clean. So what I say by clean books, I mean, put yourself on payroll. Don't use your personal account for business expenses, and definitely don't use your business account for personal expenses, because when you go to get money funding, they're going to ask about these things like, oh, I remember I remember this is a while ago, but I remember my accountant team asking me, they were keeping the books. And, I have many suppliers, vendors, and they all have different names. And I remember one time they said, is Zara one of your vendors? And I said, no. Oh, that was a personal purchase. It was an accident. It was an accident. So, so yeah, I would say keep your books clean. That's very important because when you do, you can get money to be able to scale your business. I've definitely used working capital to be able to scale my business. That's why I like platforms like Shopify, PayPal, because they provide e-commerce entrepreneurs with working capital to be able to scale your business.
You have a large following of fashion lovers and aspiring businesswomen, of course. What tips do you have for maintaining customer loyalty and creating a brand that resonates with your audience?
That's a good question. So, customer loyalty, I think that you create customer loyalty by being consistent. And I'm not talking about consistently showing up on social media like most people would tell you. I'm talking about being consistent with your brand, right? With your brand messaging, with your brand customer service, with everything, like being consistent, because there's a reason why they fell in love with you, went on your website and put their credit card in, right? So from start to finish, you have to impress them. So a brand can impress you with their content, but then when it comes time for your order to come, your return to be made, it's like that disconnect happens, right? So showing up consistently with your brand. And then I would say a cheat code is to create a loyalty program. There is a reason why I go to Sephora versus Ulta because I love Sephora's rewards program. And every time I go to Sephora, I always have points. They're like, do you want to take $10 off? Absolutely, I do. Use those 500 points and take $10 off. So my loyalty program allows me to have customers that are literally coming into my store every single week at this point. Customers that are shopping every time that we have a new drop because they get a incentive for purchasing. The other good thing about this, especially in the type of industry that I'm in, where there could be another brand that's selling something that's the same or even similar, they could be selling the product for $10 cheaper. But people that are shopping at my store may be like, well, it's $10 more here, but I'm going to get reward points. So I'm just going to still shop here instead. So I think that having a loyalty program and being consistent in the way that your brand shows up from start to finish is really how you build that loyal customer base.
I love that you said that because it's really true and it has a lot to do with consumer psychology. When you were mentioning about Sephora, I'm also a Sephora customer. And I remember working at Bloomingdale's years ago and we got employee discounts, right? I would not even use my employee discount because I was so loyal to Sephora. I didn't even care about the fact that I got 20% off. I just knew this was going to mess up my points. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, okay, listen, there is nothing better than when you go to that cash register at Sephora and they say, you have a total of this many points. Do you want to take $10 off your purchase today? Like,
Exactly.
it's a good feeling and it does retain consumer loyalty because customers are already spending money, but it's almost as if you are rewarding them for doing so. It's so that helps create a sense of loyalty. Can you share some insights on curating products for an online retail store? And how do you ensure that the quality, cost, and comfort of your products meet customer expectations?
Mm. So for me, being as though this is, the type of business that I have, I'm not, I design very little of my products. I would probably say 5 to 10% of the things I'm actually creating. And the rest is through like my suppliers, my vendors, right? I think when you have a setup like this, it's so important to curate collections because otherwise it just looks like you're selling stuff. So I really focus on curating the collections. I meet with my suppliers in person, whether they're coming to me, I'm going to trade shows, I'm coming to them, and I'm always feeling things, touching things, trying it on, checking the stretch, checking to see if it has lining. I lose so much money because products come in that maybe I didn't do that for, and it's not up to Lily's Closet standard, and I just won't sell it at all. I'd rather lose the money because the quality is so important. I could be selling a dress that it's like, and that wasn't really that great, but we're going to sell it anyways. And imagine it's that customer first time shopping here, and that's the only product that they buy, and the quality sucks. In their mind, they're not thinking like, oh, there's different suppliers, different vendors. They're like, no, this is Lily's Closet quality, and I don't like it, or it sucks, or it itches, or whatever. So I'm not going to buy from them anymore. So you always have to think of every product could be that first impression to your customer, and you want to make sure that you get it right. So feeling, touching, and really understanding fabrics too. Understanding the different fabrics and how it lays and flows on the body is really important.
Mm. And that's one thing you do that I can appreciate is that you actually curate collections as to where I can actually see the similarities and the parallels between different pieces of clothing. So when I see it's not like random outfits, it actually feels like a designed experience. And one of the things that if you ever go through Lily's Closet's reviews, if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys still have a 5.0 rating on Google. Is
Yeah,
it a 5.0?
4.9,
It's okay. It's a
4.9.
4.9. I remember for years it was like 5.0 for a very
Uh-huh.
long time.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you will always see in the reviews is they customers always talk about the quality of the
Yes.
clothing. Lily's Closet specifically is aligned or customers align Lily's Closet with quality
Yeah.
products. Customers always talk about that.
Mhm.
But aside from online, I want to say it was in the year of 2021, you opened your brick and mortar for Lily's
Mhm.
Closet. So,
Yes.
at what point did you decide that it was time for a brick and mortar? And what do you suggest for others looking to do the same?
I remember when I said I wanted to open a store, everybody was like, "You're crazy. All the stores are closing down. Why are you opening a store?" And to be honest, it kind of was like, now this wasn't a business decision. I will say that this was a vibes decision opening a store.
Not a vibes
Yeah,
decision.
it was a vibes decision. But the reason why I felt comfortable doing it is because I basically carved out a piece of my office to make the showroom. So it wasn't like I was taking on additional overhead or additional expenses. What
Mm.
it was is that I had made so many connections with our community online. I wanted to meet them in person. I wanted to meet them in person, and I wanted them to have that same vibe and feeling in person. At the time when I opened Lily's Closet, the store front, I was shopping at a lot of luxury stores, right? And I mean, it was my favorite thing to do. Take me in a back room, give me champagne, like
Yes, guys.
while you
This is
wrap my
something she
bag
loves
up
to do.
or whatever, I just love like the luxury experience. And I'm just like, what if I did that for my store, right? I know that it's not like super high end, but what if I just gave everyday women like that feeling of like you're coming shopping, you're getting your champagne, you have like a personalized experience, and you can shop in a really cute environment. I knew that everyone was all into taking pictures, aesthetics, all of that. So I wanted to bring my online experience to real life.
And I think what's so interesting is like even Lily's team, they know customers by name. Like they actually know their
Yeah.
customers. Like, oh, Tara's buying again? Like
Yeah,
she just she was just
exactly.
here last week. And I
Exactly.
think that sense of familiarity, that sense of resonance with your customers and being likable. I think so many people forget the importance of being likable, especially in the day and age where everybody wants to be the villain. Everyone is in their villain era, which is understandable. It just means that you didn't
Yeah.
have boundaries, Buki. It's okay. But you don't it doesn't mean you have to be a villain. It just means that at
Right.
this point you're just not taking no shit no more. But I
Mhm.
think we've lost the art of being likable. It does not mean that you're a people pleaser. It does not mean that you're bending and, you know, contortioning yourself to fit into somebody's standards. It just means that you're a person that people are like, yo, they have admirable character. And
Yeah.
I rock with them. And I think we lost the art of being a genuine, authentic, and likable person, especially in today's day and age, again, where everybody wants to be the villain. Everyone's in their bad girl ever. Like, okay, like that's okay. But ultimately, your mission includes empowering women to own their look and spark confidence. How can other online retailers integrate a strong mission and values into their business models to connect more deeply with their customers?
I would say it has to be a part. I think that the mission has to really come from what the founder is also passionate about, right? Because it will be easy to pass that down to your team. Like I'm passionate about making women feel good. I it's like when I'm in the store, like I've worked in my store less than 5 times, but I worked in my store this past Saturday, and when I tell you like my cup was full, I had on a dress that was from my store, and this lady was checking out, and she was like, "Oh, that dress is cute." And I was like, "Oh, it's from Lily's Closet. We fully stocked. It's right over there." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't see it." And I was like, and she kept looking at me, and I was like, "You want to try it on?" She was like, "Girl, I just tried it on." I said, "But girl, it's real cute." Girl, she tried it on. I helped her zip it up, and she looked in the mirror and she was like, "I like this. This like it like makes my waist look smaller. Okay, I'm gonna get this dress, right?" And so then I went to the back, and first, before I went to the back, she said, "Are you Lily?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, it had to be because you didn't just sew that dress off your back." So when I went to the back, they rung her up, and when I came back out, she left. That was like that lady was so sweet. She was like, the customer service was just so excellent, and she was just telling us about her cancer story and how you just like made her feel good in that dress, and she brought the dress
Girl, you about
along
to make me
with me.
cry.
And that was like, it just made me be like, this is what it's all about. Like, it's not just clothes. It's like clothes make us feel a certain type of way, you know? And I am literally living that. I'm breathing that. I'm showing up in that way. And that's what I want my brand to represent. There's also reasons why I don't carry certain types of products in my store, because it's like I'm really focused on women feeling confident. I think about certain things like me, I'm a girl that has never really been able to just wear everything that I wanted to because I'm a double D. So
Mm.
I consider these things when, I'm shopping for my customers. I'll see so many cute things. Was like, my boobs are not going to fit in that. And I know that a lot of other women have that trouble as well. Like so I think that other founders should really think about like what's important to them and then how they can incorporate that into their brand, because then it will just come naturally.
I can agree with that wholeheartedly. I think I always say this, if your why doesn't make you cry, your business will not survive.
Oh.
And I think when you're centered on your why you're doing this, it's
Mhm.
because it's so easy to get lost in, I mean, we live in a world that is dominated by consumerism and capitalism, but
Mhm.
it's those small, intimate moments, especially with customers, that make you say, you know what, this is worth it. You could literally be having the shittiest, sometimes I could be having the shittiest day. And then I will
Yeah.
have one person that tells me, Brittany, thank you so much. This was so helpful. This is
Mhm.
so valuable. Like it's about impact at the end of the day. Like it's all about impact. But Lily, you have done so much. Like and it seems like it's such a short period of time, but you've literally been doing this at this point over a decade. Lily, thank you so much. You dropped so many gems, as you always do. If you around Lily, you definitely gonna learn something. It's been a pleasure just even working with you all of these years, just because you definitely invest so much into your business. Do you want to tell or just maybe share some things that you're working on and how exactly can myself and our listeners support you?
Well, something that I'm working on is there are two things. By the time this comes out, it's probably going to be launched, but I've been working a couple of months on my boutique blueprint guide, which tells you everything you need to know from A to Z on how to start a online boutique in today's age, how to source your products. I mean, everything you need to know, right? And then also at that time, who knows what's going on with Learn with Lilly? There's always a new program to help you grow, start, or scale your business.
Can you tell our listeners exactly what Learn with Lily is and just kind of break
Yeah.
down how they can join just in case if
Mhm.
they and it's for other brands aside from fashion brands, by the way.
Right. Yes. Yes. I primarily work with fashion and beauty brands. So a lot of the women that I mentor will either be designers, they'll have fashion boutiques, they'll sell skincare, they'll sell hair. I've had makeup products as well. But I can help anyone. Okay. I helped an interior designer, hairstylist. So it's not limited, but that's kind of where my focus is. But Learn with Lily is a online community to help women grow and to start and scale their brands. So I have a mentorship group where you can learn about many different aspects of business on a monthly basis. I do one-on-one. I also do meetups. Sometimes I do in-person events that's few and far in between. And then I sell ebooks that's really going to give you the knowledge to help you start or grow your business.
Amazing. Lily, thank you so much once again. I'm pretty sure, I hope y'all had y'all notepads this entire session. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Definitely be on the lookout for any of her programs that drop, boutique boot camp, the
Mhm.
boutique blueprint. If you are looking to start your own fashion brand, if you're looking to start your own beauty brand, your own wellness brand, and you're really trying to hone in the power of e-commerce to drive your business, please, by all means, listen to Lily, take one of her courses, get one of her books, because if there's anyone you should learn from who's been there, done that, and she gives so much information on like you will literally learn what to do. Like I told you guys, like Lily helped me clean up my act financially. And it's so crazy because when you taught me about that, I applied it. And I remember being able to get like a $35,000 line of credit
Yeah.
just from cleaning it up. Just sometimes the answer for what's next for you or what it is that you need is just within you in some of your habits. And by me cleaning up my habits, I ended up having more opportunities. So shout out to you for that.
And the bank will always give you money when you have money. But when you don't have money and you really need it, most of the time they won't give you money.
They won't give you because it's like, why do you need now we know for a fact you ain't gonna pay us back.
Exactly. Like you have a business and you ain't got no money, you must not be managing it right.
Like,
So
girl, maybe you shouldn't be in business, girl. That's what that's what they was gonna say. Lily, thank
yeah.
you so much again. Until next time, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Not So CEO Talk Show. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Not So CEO Talk Show. If you love what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. To stay in the loop, stack our newsletter, The Paper, and follow us on social media at Not So CEO. In case you need assistance with building your brand or you're a creative wanting to go from freelancer to founder, book an office hour session with me on our website at notsoceo.co. Until next time, remember, being self-made shouldn't compromise self-care. This is Not So CEO, signing off.